Hi, everybody. Hello. It's Lucinda coming to you live from Los Angeles. Welcome to my Zoom call. Welcome to my podcast. Welcome to my hatless, energy tonight. I am so glad to be here tonight because we're going to talk about a subject that is very dear to my heart and it's extremely important. And we're going to talk about depression tonight. And I think it's really important because, first of all, depression is really important. And it's something that should be taken very seriously. And it's something that freaks a lot of people out when they experience it or when their family members experience it. And, anxiety is really terrible. But in some ways, I think depression's worse because anxiety, at least you have energy, right? It's like, I'm anxious. I got to run. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm worried. Depression can just take you down and make you feel like, I think depression can make you feel like people are sick of you and nobody cares anymore. And nobody understands you and you're very lonely and you get tired. And I've been depressed and my husband, David, went through some pretty severe, as some of you know, who read the book and who knew David. David struggled with bipolar disorder when he was really, really sick. And I have seen what severe depression can do to a lot of my clients. So I want to start off tonight by saying, if you're someone who, and we're going to talk about it, I'm going to really go into some detail about it, but if you're someone who thinks you're depressed, then you might be depressed. And if you are, get help, because the good news is, like when David died 12 years ago, which I still struggle with, and the anniversary of his death was yesterday. So it's very hard on me and very hard on my children. And so I have a special place in my heart for anyone who struggles with any type of mental challenge. I don't like to use the word mental illness, but David, was very sick. He got to the point, and for those of you who have read the book, Truth Be Told, he was struggling with some really big things, and he had a genetic predisposition toward bipolar disorder. And then, honestly, he was put on some very heavy-duty medications that made him really sick. And if I have any regrets, and I have a lot of regrets, but I wish I wouldn't have let him take those medications because I think that was kind of what took him down. That said, depression is very scary and very lonely and very hard to understand. And if you've ever had it, and most of you probably have, there's a real difference between, I'm depressed today. I'm not dating anybody. I feel lonely. Gosh, I'm just down. And, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't feel good. I don't really care about anything. I'm not excited about life anymore. I'm not excited about anything anymore. I feel sad all the time. I either don't want to eat or I want to eat too much. I either can't sleep or I sleep too much. I don't think anybody gets me. So there are different levels of depression. And what's really interesting about depression is that if you Google depression, like if you Google anxiety, there are like, here's the 6 tips for overcoming anxiety. You Google depression and it's like, nobody wants to tell you 6 steps for getting over depression because depression's complicated. And I want you to know, I've been depressed. I've gone through periods like, and this is where I want to start. Like if you've ever been hurt or you've been through an illness or an injury, or like when I got hit by that truck a year and a half ago, one of the things they really watched out for, because I had a brain injury, was depression. Because when you get a brain injury, and it's a very complicated thing, depression, because medications can cause depression. Like maybe you're on blood pressure medication, or maybe you're taking a medication for depression that could make your depression worse. There are all kinds of different medications that can cause symptoms of depression. There are all kinds of hormonal changes that can cause symptoms of depression. So depression's not just, oh, you're depressed. Well, go out and exercise and get off the carbs and don't drink caffeine and don't drink alcohol and your depression's going to go away. I'm going to say that's bullshit. Okay. Oh, I got to move up closer to my mic. I'm here to tell you the truth because I don't like to bullshit people. And I'm here to tell you that depression's a very lonely, scary place, but there's help for depression. And, 12 years ago, there weren't that many options for depression. And now there are so many options for depression. So I want to say to you, if you're, and you know who you are, if you're out there struggling with depression, feeling scared or lonely, especially if you're having suicidal thoughts and you're thinking, hey, the world would be better off without me, get help, go to your doctor, talk to your therapist, call a psychiatrist, call somebody tonight, because the one thing I'll tell you, and that I know about suicide, is that people who try to take their lives and don't accomplish that, don't succeed, are so glad they didn't die. And I would tell you, and this is pretty intimate, but I do believe that if my husband could come back, he would come back. He'd come back over and over again. So suicide's never the answer. In fact, it's such a horrible thing to do to your family, such a horrible thing to do to your children. Nobody wants to get rid of you. Everybody wants you. So if you're going through something where you're thinking, everybody'd be better off without me. No, they wouldn't. I know I'm a suicide survivor, and no, nobody's better off without you. I would give anything to have my husband back. So, but I can't bring him back, but I know if he could come back, he would come back. So I want to just, talk about depression, not suicide, because, suicide's a different animal. But if you are at a place in your life where you're so down and you're so distraught that you're considering like, wow, man, people would be better off without me, call 911, call the suicide hotline, tell your wife, tell your husband, tell your children. You don't want to give up because life is pretty amazing. And in fact, I was going to write a book, and I was going to have 12 chapters, and they were all chapters of people who tried to commit suicide and didn't succeed, and why they were so glad they were still here. I think I should write that book, and I should call it I Survived Suicide. So maybe I'll add that to my list. But I personally even struggled to go to suicide because it's just even for me, because of everything that we went through, it's a tough topic. So I want to talk tonight about depression because, it's funny. It's like people will talk about anxiety and people will talk about fear and people will talk about worry, but depression, it's like, ooh, that's a dirty word. No, it's not a dirty word. In fact, depression is a real emotion, and it comes with a lot of symptoms and side effects. And when you get stuck in depression, it's really easy to, I was going to go to the gym, but I'm so tired. I was going to go meet my friend for a glass of wine, but I just don't want to get up and get ready. I was going to go for a hike, but I don't have any energy. I was going to apply for that job, but I don't really think I'm capable of getting it. And that's what depression does to you. When you have ongoing, reoccurring depression, it can suck the life out of you. And you feel like you're the only one that's feeling it, and you feel like nobody wants to be with you. And that's not true. I've been depressed. I know that feeling. And so I'm here to tell you tonight that there's help, and there's answers, and there's light beyond that tunnel of depression. And it's very normal to feel depression, and it's very common to have depression. And some of the most powerful, successful people in the world struggled with depression. So some of the most creative, brilliant people struggled with depression. And so you're not alone. And maybe you're someone who thinks you have depression. Maybe you're someone who goes in and out of depression. By the way, it's really common to struggle with anxiety and depression. They usually go hand in hand. So what we're here tonight to talk about specifically is depression. So I'm going to go back to this fabulous book, The Solution, and I'm going to read a passage that I wrote. You are emotionally empowered with positive feelings of courage and strength. You are a peaceful, serene being, and the negative energy of anxiety and depression aren't welcome in your body. You are capable. You have expertise and a lot of know-how about a lot of things. You're secure. You can dissolve all obstacles, and you can leave fear, anxiety, and depression behind. You know what's in your power to change, and you know what you can't change. And you understand that anxiety and depression are just simply emotions. You can consciously choose a more powerful way of thinking and feeling. You are working toward becoming an underreactor, a positive person, someone who embraces life to the fullest with an optimistic attitude. You have the power to let go of anxiety and depression as you connect to a deeper wisdom that lies within for grace and guidance. You're not going to allow fear and anxiety and depression to control you. You can release them and fill them and replace them with energy and vitality. You are capable of handling all life throws at you, all the good and the bad and the challenges, because that's life. Shit happens. You see challenges as opportunities to develop personal power and abilities. They're simply practice opportunities. You choose to be less affected and more effective when dealing with stress, anxiety, and depression. You fill your mind with positive thoughts and you honor yourself when you're feeling down and tired and you don't have energy. You also understand you have unique gifts and talents and skills, and you trust in your ability to stay strong and to be resourceful. And you trust in your ability to stay patient and let time pass and know that this shoe too shall pass. This shoe that's falling too shall pass. You love and trust and believe in yourself and God. And that's really important because depression isn't easy. It's like it can be biochemical. In other words, maybe you have a predisposition toward anxiety and depression because maybe your mom or your dad or someone in your family struggled with depression and anxiety. Therefore, genetically, you are predisposed to experiencing anxiety and depression. I have that. And don't let that scare you. It's not about what you might have a predisposition for, because you, at the end of the day, can control how you let things get to you. You can control how you choose to react. You can control how you eat, what you drink, the people you hang around with, that you get out and exercise, and that you take care of your body, and that you decide to think in a proactive, positive way. So I think what I want you to get out of this tonight is depression doesn't, you, how can I say this? You don't have depression. Okay, depression doesn't have you. You have depression. In other words, you are in control of your depression. And listen, I'm 65 years old. I got in this horrible accident a year and a half ago, and I landed on my head, and I had 3 brain bleeds. And I will tell you, I'm still having, people say, well, how are you recovering from that? I had, crushed pelvis. And listen, it's not easy. There are days when I don't feel good, or I feel like kind of like my memory's not the way it should be, or I'm not as sharp as I should be. And they told me this could happen and it could last for a couple of years, but I don't beat myself up. There are times when I feel like tired, like the old Lucinda before, I say pre getting hit by a truck. How would you say that? Getting hit by a truck. Anyway, pre getting hit by a truck, I was not really a party animal, but I was the one going, let's go out, let's do this, let's do that, let's get dressed up, let's go get, pizza, let's go, whatever. And now I get tired more easily. I'm not as quick to like go out and get dressed up and make a lot of effort. I tend to like things to be a little more low key. I don't want to stay out till 1 a.m. And I know you're thinking, well, you used to stay out till 1 a.m. Sometimes, I did go out with my fiance last Saturday night, though. We went to this club here locally, and we heard 3 of the guys from Chicago were there in the band. And then, God, what's his name showed up from the guitar player from Jim Morris, The Doors. Can anybody think of his name? Showed up. He's like 73 years old, and did a riff on guitar. And we stayed till 11:30, and it was so much fun. But I'm at a point in my life where I reevaluate what feels good, and how much sleep I need, and how much caffeine I should and shouldn't drink, and how much alcohol I should and shouldn't drink. I'm amazed, by the way, at how many of you guys that I work with don't drink at all. You don't drink any alcohol. And I don't drink a lot, but I like a glass of wine every once in a while, a martini. And I don't drink all the time, but I like a little bit of alcohol sometimes. But I have to be really careful, because where I used to like be able to do shots of tequila and go out dancing. Now, if I drink 2 glasses of wine, I can really feel like shit the next day. So you have to kind of balance yourself. You have to know your body well. So let's talk just a bit about what are the symptoms of depression. You'd think everybody would know what they are, but they don't. Moodiness, irritability, mood swings, negative thinking, decreased motivation, either eating too much or not eating enough, sleep problems, decreased sexual responsiveness, social isolation. Like you just, I don't know, I don't really want to see them tonight. Fear of death or obsession of death and dying, sadness, negativity, low energy, decreased interest in others, feelings of hopelessness, helplessness about the future, dissatisfaction, lower interest in things that normally you would be interested in, low self-esteem, disorganization, and scattered thoughts. Believe it or not, yes, those are symptoms of depression. Headaches, nausea, a tendency to predict the worst and think about the worst possible outcome, forgetfulness, poor concentration, anger, fear of doing something stupid, fear of hurting yourself or others, excessive fear of being judged, short attention span, lack of goals, chronic lateness, procrastination. You're going, oh my God, I've got them all, right? No, but these, I don't, a lot of people don't realize that, inability to stay focused, lack of motivation, feeling like a victim, feeling like things are all your fault, feeling guilty, like you're fucking up everything, black and white thinking. These can all be symptoms of depression, feeling unworthy, feeling that nobody understands you, feeling, blamed or blaming other people for your misery. The Oxford Dictionary defines depression as a state of melancholy characterized by moodiness, hopelessness, feelings of inadequacy, and physical symptoms such as exhaustion, sadness. And it's really important for you to understand that when you're depressed, it's important for you to understand that you are depressed. And it's important for you to be able to say, I'm feeling depressed right now, and that's okay. And I often tell my clients, it's okay to be depressed for a reason. And this is where I go to this whole thing, which is it rational depression or irrational depression? And the sneaky thing about that is, like anxiety, even more than anxiety, depression can be biochemical. So if you're sitting around going, and this is the hardest thing for people, I've got a good life, I've got a good marriage, I've got a good career, I'm financially safe, my kids are doing well, and I feel depressed. Then that's a good sign. That's not anything to be scared of. It's a sign for you that you might be struggling with a biological depression. And biological depression now is pretty easy to treat. There are some really good medications on the market that weren't available even 5 years ago. So I urge you and encourage you that if your life is really dandy in every way, but you feel a lot of those symptoms I just described, you're not excited, you're not motivated, you feel hopeless, you feel helpless, you're tired all the time, and you just feel kind of down. Maybe you feel emotional, like you want to cry. And if you're not going through menopause, if you're not, struggling with a health issue that causes depression, if you're not on some medication that could cause depression, ask your doctor. If you're taking medication, say, hey, is there any chance my blood pressure medication could be causing symptoms of depression? Or my thyroid medication? Is there any chance going through menopause could be causing symptoms of depression? And go to the doctor. Depression is one really important time. You go to your doctor and you say, I'm feeling this, and this, and I don't know why, and I'm concerned. Because the thing that I'm trying to tell you guys is there are medications out there now that you can take, and within 2 weeks, you feel better. Just 5 milligrams of something can really help you and turn those negative thoughts. Because what happens when you get into depression is you can get into this really dark hole, and then you kind of, one thought spirals off to another thought, and you get really, stuck in your negative, scary thoughts. And it's one thing to be negative. It's another thing to be depressed. And sometimes, and like I said, physical illnesses or just, for example, I love to share my own stories. But since I have this really extreme jaw discomfort and neck discomfort, and I've had it for like several years, and they think it's because I'm at my computer writing all the time. But when I got in that accident and I landed on my head from 8 feet in the air, that has become significantly worse. And I've been to doctors and no one can come up with any kind of explanation for it. Maybe it's my fifth vertebrae, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I don't take anything for it. But you know, it can be depressing when you're struggling with any kind of illness, whether it's arthritis or it's especially something you can't explain. Like, I've got this symptom, it's this pain in my shoulder, and you go to the doctor, and it's one thing if they can say, oh, you need surgery, or we know what it is, we can make it go away. But so many of the times, you know, they can't figure out what it is and they can't make it go away. And then sometimes these stupid doctors want to put you on pain meds, and that can cause depression. Believe me, you do not want to go on pain meds. That's a really slippery slope. And opiates and things like that, it's really, really bad and can really also cause depression. Someone here is saying, my spouse has a drinking problem. I think he's depressed. Very astute of you. And yes, it's not uncommon at all for people to self-medicate for depression with things like anti-anxiety medication and alcohol. Alcohol is a slippery slope too. You know, I grew up with an alcoholic father, and I think he self-medicated with anti-anxiety medication. At the time, it was Valium, right? And he also drank Rolling Rock. I've talked about that before. And I think he struggled with depression. And so the really nice thing about living in 2000 and, you know, the time that we live in now, 21, is that you can get help. You can talk about your problems. There are, a ton of medications on the market right now that can be really helpful. So don't struggle. Don't sit there by yourself in silence and drink yourself into oblivion. Don't sit there all alone and think that life isn't worth living, or that, because it is worth living. And I really want to go back to, if you have any suicidal thoughts or tendencies, please call your doctor, call your wife, your husband, your friend, call me. I mean, I am not, someone that's going to work with you if you're suicidal, but there's a suicidal hotline number that I would give you. And because there is help, and you can get help immediately, and you can get on medications that will take those feelings away. And you believe me, if everyone had the opportunity, if everyone who took their life would have the opportunity to come back, they would all come back. It's just that dark moment, that you get into. So there's mild depression, which is kind of, you sometimes feel tired or down for no really definable reason. You may have a hard time getting motivated. You may have a hard time sleeping at times. You may feel sad or overly sensitive about things. Maybe you're eating too much or not eating enough. You lack enthusiasm. But that's not something that you need to run to the doctor for, but you could go to your doctor and say, hey, look, I think I'm experiencing mild depression. Moderate depression, you feel sad and melancholy. What's melancholy? Just this overwhelming dark cloud kind of hanging over you. And at times you really have no reason for it at all. You feel a low energy. It may take all of your effort to even get up and get out and go do things. And you're maybe very sensitive, and you maybe have a hard time sleeping, or maybe you want to sleep a lot. Maybe you're impatient and irritable and you just aren't very happy. That's moderate depression. Severe depression is when you feel drained all the time. You're sad, you're worried, and you feel like everyone is over being around you. You're exhausted. You feel like there's no hope. That's the one, severe depression. That's when you want to get off this Zoom call your doctor and say, help, I'm feeling really severe depression. I'm exhausted. I'm down. I don't feel excited about the future, and I want help, because there is help. The one thing I will tell you is we are living in such a great time for any kind of emotional or mental challenge. There's so much help available. I'll just give you the example of, and if you guys, keep your messages going, I'll try to answer all your questions. 12 years ago, when David had bipolar disorder, and then he got really sick on these medications, there was so little help out there. 20 years ago, when I created the Attacking Anxiety and Depression program, There was nothing out there about anxiety and depression because it was a dirty little subject and you weren't supposed to talk about it. And especially men, men felt so uncomfortable going for help. So the good news is now it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for guidance. It's okay to say you're on a medication for anxiety or depression. It's okay to get therapy. It's okay to come on my Zoom forum. In fact, it's a good thing. It's empowering. Being by yourself and dealing with all this by yourself is not okay. It's always better to reach out and know that there are other people that struggle the way that you do. Know that there are people like me who are here to just give you, some answers and give you hope and tell you which direction to go in. But if you're really feeling like shit, there are medications out there. There's one in particular, I feel like I shouldn't, be naming these meds, but, there's some medications, there's some antidepressants out there that are really, you can just take 5 milligrams and they really help you with this very negative, obsessive thinking. So go to your doctor and ask your doctor about these medications because they're very helpful and they can change your mood in a week to 2 weeks where, it used to be these medications took 30 days to titrate. So what are some of the symptoms of depression? Feeling tired all the time, feeling like you don't have any energy, not excited about things in your life that normally would have excited you, feeling emotional, crying easily, overreacting to everything, feeling like, you're irritable, everything just bothers you, feeling lonely, feeling like, people are getting sick of you and feeling like people don't want to be around you. These are symptoms of depression. And there's this area called the deep limbic system. And it's the bonding and mood control center located at the center of the brain. It sets the emotional tone of the mind. It filters out external events. It modulates motivation and controls your appetite. It can control sleep cycles. And this brain system gives you the capacity to solve problems, plan, organize, and think rationally. So if you are depressed, this is a very important part of your brain that needs to be nurtured. And how do you do that? Well, exercise regularly, avoid caffeine and alcohol, avoid carbs and sugar, get plenty of sleep, eat more vegetables, eat more protein, meat, eggs, cheese, surround yourself with positive people. And during these times of when you might go through depressive episodes, exercise, exercise, exercise. There's an old saying, like when we most need, sorry, I got to speak up to the mic. When we most need to take care of ourselves is when we least feel motivated to do so. So when you are depressed, it's very common to feel tired and unmotivated. And yet that's the most important time to get up, get out, take a walk, go for a hike, go to the gym, get on your treadmill, turn on music, dance around, go out with a friend, have dinner, sit and talk to someone. And don't think you're the only one that gets depressed. I get depressed. My friends get depressed. Everybody I know has episodes when they kind of get down. And I will tell you, I do think you have a tendency maybe to get more depressed as you get older. I think that it's not uncommon because you're men and women, you're going through hormonal changes. And so it's not uncommon to be in your 50s and your 60s and even your 70s or whatever, and feel like, wow, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't have the energy I used to have. I feel like I'm getting older. I'm feeling sad. I don't really want to go out. I really don't want, I'm not that sexually driven. So if all that's going on, go to your doctor, find out if there are hormones you should be on. Maybe you need testosterone. Find out if there's medication you should be taking so that you can get your groove back and get your attitude back. So there are some pretty powerful people that really struggled with depression. Ted Turner, Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut who walked on the moon, Drew Barrymore, Terry Bradshaw, football quarterback, Jim Carrey, Ty Cobb, Ellen DeGeneres, Princess Diana, Tipper Gore, Billy Joel, Elton John, Abraham Lincoln, you probably know that one, Brooke Shields, Rod Steiger, Sting, Mike Wallace, the list goes on and on and on. Sting, I love Sting. He struggled with severe depression for 2 years. And And, you look at Sting and he's 68 years old and he's stunningly good looking and he's happily married. He's got children and he's got an incredible life. He struggled with depression for 2 years and wondered if he was, going crazy. I mean, he wondered, why am I going through depression? I have everything. So and the reason I'm sharing all of that with you is because stress, anxiety, and depression, and by the way, they often go hand in hand, don't have to be a life sentence or an excuse for an unhappy life or non-productive living. Remember that these are common emotional challenges that are just that, common. Many people struggle with depression, anxiety, and stress at various times in their lives, but it doesn't keep them from thriving. You have an opportunity every day when you get up to make the choice to be in a different frame of mind. So a reactive thought might be, I allow the negative reactive energy of depression to deplete my motivation, drain my energy, lower my self-esteem, and create unhappiness in my life. Or I'm going to use the positive proactive energy of stress and anxiety to get me out of my depression and help me get up, get things done, be more organized, be more inspired, and be grateful that I'm even here at all. I mean, look, I've been through a lot of shit in my life, okay? As you know, I lost David 12 years ago, and I had to raise my kids after their dad committed suicide. And I was this anxiety guru, and my husband struggled with terrible bipolar disorder and then was put on all these medications and ended up putting us all through hell. And I'm still here, and it's not easy. I miss him, and I still struggle with all of that. And so do my children. But, they're thriving, and we're getting on with our lives. And, I've lost all of my siblings and my mother and my father. And my only brother died last year when I got hit by the truck, my only surviving brother. And I've lost my animals, and I've lost, a lot of my relatives. And then I got hit by a truck and ended up, in a wheelchair for a month. And, and then the last couple of months, I've been through some terrible things here. And I just, you have to go on because, life is full of ups and downs and challenges, and you have to be able to get through them and come out and say, okay, I'm strong. I'm a survivor. I can't be happy every day, but I can try, and I can get up tomorrow. And a depressed day doesn't mean a depressed week, and a depressed hour doesn't have to mean a depressed day. So I'm not sitting here bullshitting you, okay? I am someone who's been through a lot of shit, and I still am grateful. And like I said, I have side effects from that accident that are really, really suck. And but I don't complain. I try not to anyway. And I think for 65 years old, I have 2 really great kids who've lost their dad, but they still have me, and they're thriving. And I have a good life, and I'm trying to share with you what I've done to do all of that. And I've gone from being a reactive person to being a proactive person. So we go back to, I can let my anxiety create fear. I can let my depression create avoidance and cause me to be miserable. Or I'm going to view the energy of anxiety as excitement, and I'm going to use that energy of anxiety to get me beyond the depression. I'm going to see my depression as a temporary state, and I'm going to see my life from a positive, viewpoint. And I'm going to hang out in being grateful that I'm here, and being grateful that, I can get up and get on with my life post-COVID, and rip off that mask in a week and get on a plane and enjoy life again. Reactive, I allow my depression to color my self-perception of everything, my view of the world, my view of my own life. I wallow in self-pity. I feel sorry for me. Or I'm giving myself permission to feel depressed, but just for a little while. I'm going to minimize how long I spend there. I know it's temporary, so I'm going to surround myself with positive friends and family and do things that are uplifting and motivating, like get out and go for a walk and go out to dinner and dance and go listen to music and take life one day at a time, knowing that I'm just grateful to be here at all. Try to avoid things like, and it's so hard because when you're depressed, I don't know about you, but man, I want to go for the M&M peanuts and the glass of cab. And, and that's what makes you feel like shit. So try to avoid those things when you're depressed. Try to avoid alcohol, try to avoid caffeine, try to avoid sugar. If you're depressed and you know it, get out, go to the gym. I'm telling you, it's been proven over and over again that an hour of exercise cardio is just as good, if not better, than an hour of therapy with a really, really good therapist. So don't let your depression get the better of you, because the truth of the matter is, it doesn't have to. And I was working with a client today, and I really enjoyed that session. And I think you're on tonight. And we were talking about anxiety, but it started getting me spinning. And I thought, this could apply to depression too. So when you're going through an episode, I'm going to say, of anxiety or depression, number one, if you want to write this down, ask yourself, are my feelings rational or irrational? In other words, is there a real reason for this anxiety and this depression? Maybe you had a bad blood test, or maybe your son got in a car accident, or maybe your husband wants a divorce. Well, then of course your anxiety and or your depression is real. It's rational. But if it's irrational, in other words, I'm sitting here right now, cleaning the house and I feel anxious and depressed, or I'm sitting here watching, a sitcom and I feel anxious. And maybe you were watching The Bachelor last night, Bachelorette, you felt anxious and depressed. Anyway, is it an irrational feeling, this anxiety and this depression? And I'm going to use both of them, because typically if you're anxious, you're depressed. And if you're depressed, you're anxious. So number one, is your anxiety and depression rational or irrational? In other words, is there a real problem for it? And if it's irrational, and say, no, my life's really good. I'm working, I'm healthy, I'm in a nice marriage, and I can't put my finger on. And by the way, that really makes people more anxious or more depressed when you don't know why you're anxious and depressed. So then number one, is it rational or irrational? If it's rational, what can you do about whatever it is that's real, that's causing your anxiety or your depression? Okay. If you're depressed, and, maybe you lost your job, maybe you lost your a loved one, maybe you're, not in a relationship, go to the doctor, talk about your depression, go to a therapist, do some meditation. But then number two, so number one, is it rational or irrational? Number two, am I safe? This is a very important question. And if you say to yourself, I don't think I'm safe, then go to the doctor immediately. If you're depressed and you're really scared that you're going to do something stupid, or that, you really feel down to the point where you're really scared, go to the doctor, call the doctor, go to the emergency room tonight, call your brother, have him drive you there, call 911. Don't mess around with, I don't feel safe, because that's scary. So am I safe? And if you're going to say, yes, I'm safe, but then, okay, if you're safe, in other words, you know what, I'm just depressed or I'm just anxious. So, are you in danger? Are you in any risk? Are you in harm's way in any way? And if you say, no, I'm just wandering around my house feeling kind of depressed and I'm kind of anxious, and no, I'm not in any danger, I'm not at any risk, and I'm not in harm's way, then you say, all right, I'm going to give myself permission to be going through a depressive episode. I'm going to give myself permission to have anxiety. I'm going to, number four, let time pass. I'm going to try to, 5, underreact to this anxiety and this depression, and know that it's temporary. And then I'm going to say to myself, hey, I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to put on some breath music. I'm going to listen to Jennifer Brazen radio. I'm going to use Lucinda's affirmations. And I'm going to remind myself that I am safe and sound. I love those 2 words. And again, if you're not safe and you know it, call someone, call 911, go get help. But if you are safe and you're just going through a period of depression, I have those, okay? There are moments that I say, oh my God, why did I buy this house? Or I'm 65 years old. I've been watching this series with my fiance and he really likes it. And it's the McKinsey episodes or something. I don't know. Anyway, no, it's not the name of it, but it's something like that. He likes it, but it's these 2 older men and it's kind of depressing. And I watch that. I'm like, boy, that's kind of depressing. What am I going to be? I'm 65. In 10 years, I'm going to be 75. I don't let myself go down that road though. I tend to hang out in, oh my God, I have all this energy and I want to go travel. I want to see the world. And I still feel pretty at 65 and I can still go dancing and I'm still healthy. I tend to come from the glass is half full, not the glass is half empty. So remind yourself that you are safe and sound and that you are capable and ready to go out and enjoy your life. And that hang out in that energy. Yeah, the Kaminsky method. Thank you. We've been watching that. And the thing about it's like, and it's really great, by the way, Michael Douglas, and I forget the other guy's name, but they're these two old guys and they live in LA, and the one's wife just died and he's very, very depressed. He's going through what we're talking about right now. It's pretty funny actually, but it's when you're 65 and you watch it, you're like, oh my God, they're kind of depressed. So, and Alan Arkin. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad you were on the ball, and Jody and everybody else. It is a great show. If you're really bored, it's called the Kaminsky Method, Kominsky. I think it's on Netflix, but I'm not sure. I personally would rather watch The Bachelorette. What does that say about me? And last night's Bachelorette was kind of weird because the host is gone, which that's, controversial too. And I thought he kind of kept things interesting and kept things together. And I think The Bachelorette was better before COVID, but I hear they're going to be doing a Bachelorette and The Bachelor with people 65 and older. I actually applied, but that's before I met my fiance. I never got a call. I think that's such a great idea, though. I am hilarious. I like The Bachelorette and The Bachelor because I think that it's young energy and they're doing fun things and it's kind of crazy. And but I do like to watch this whatever it's called. What's it called again, you guys? I can't remember what it is, but anyway, it's gone. I've got so many messages here. Kaminsky. Thank you. Kaminsky method. And he's an acting teacher. And so he's Kaminsky, and it's Michael Douglas, who's very sexy. Even I guess what is he, guys? Is he 73 now? I think he is 73. And he was this player, and now he's trying to date this older woman. I guess she's in her 50s. God, why is it 73-year-old men can date 55-year-old women? I don't think that's fair. But anyway, so the moral of this story tonight is that if you think you're struggling with depression to the point where you can't get out of it, you've got to get yourself together. You got stuck in a moment and you can't get out of it. Call and get help, because I cannot stress this enough. There is help now. There's help, and it's help that really works for depression. You don't have to live, miserable. You can actually get help for depression. And if you're anxious and depressed, you're in the right place with me. So I also want to tell you, we're going to breathe, but I'm going to start doing these Zoom sessions every other Tuesday, because I think that you guys want to get out and live your life. And so next Tuesday, there will not be a Zoom session. So it'll be every other Tuesday. They'll be up on Facebook and Instagram. And we're going to keep doing these, and we're going to keep doing the podcast, but it will be every other Tuesday. So I hope you're going to come on and join, because I think they're really great. People seem to really enjoy them. I'm going to keep providing you with a lot of great free advice and information. And if you want to talk to someone and you want to do some coaching, feel free to call Darla. Let me give you that number. I should have it in front of me, and I don't, but I should. But anyway, at 419-350-7499. I'm doing group coaching and individual coaching, and it really is helpful. People really do love it. That number is 419-350-7499. We're going to be doing a breath retreat in Westlake. I'm really excited about that. And you should come. It'll change your life. It's a weekend retreat. They're great. Follow me on my podcast, Let Go with Lucinda. You can go to letgowithlucinda.com to find out more. You can go to Lucinda Bassett Breathwork to look at my website. It's pretty cool. And you can get all my books on Amazon, but I'm here to help you. So we're going to breathe. Okay. Woo. All right. Yes. The number's 419-350-7499. No, it's okay that we're going to do it every other week, you guys. I'm not letting you go. I'm just going to give you a little space so you can get out and start going out and going dancing and going to concerts and having some fun, and you can travel a little bit. All right, you guys, get yourself in position to breathe. You breathe in through your mouth to the count of 3, slow breath out, like you're blowing on a mirror. So short breath out. Remember that breathing is the most important resource required for a healthy body, mind, healthy blood cells, healthy brain. Breathing stimulates our skin, our muscles, and massages our organs. Deep breathing strengthens the immune system and expels toxins. Full connected breath stimulates our brain, improving our mental alertness and our concentration. Don't be afraid to breathe. Deep breathing can address negative patterns or behaviors. Full oxygenation of our brain allows us to release serotonin and endorphins, organic chemicals that produce a blissful, euphoric, relaxed state. So I encourage you tonight to sit back, I love to put your right hand on your heart chakra and your left hand on your solar plexus chakra down here. And I want you to take a deep breath in. I call upon the I Am Presence, Masters of Light, and angelic forces to now assist everyone here tonight to manifest and embrace the energy of God under grace, safe surrender, and perfect alignment, releasing anxiety, stress, and depression into the energy of the universe. I invite you to embrace spirit, to feel the energy and the vibration throughout your body, breathing in all that's good, good health, abundance, kindness, life, love, breathing out compassion, non-judgment, joy. Nice breath in to the count of 3 and a short breath out. Breathing in, short breath out. You can feel this beautiful energy throughout your body. It's the great I am. This is your soul, your life, your light, your gift. Letting your mind surrender now to the incredibly positive power of the universe. You feel the vibration radiating from you to others around in this space, sending them unconditional love, your warm, tender thoughts. You are full of good energy. You are full of unconditional love, filling your body full of health, healthy breath, healthy blood flow, healthy thoughts, calming you, yet placing your soul in safe surrender in this moment, in this space, safe to breathe, safe to trust. I call upon the I Am Presence and higher self, Masters of Light, to provide each individual here with any guidance, clarity, or awareness he or she needs at this time. If there's anything you need an answer to, ask. Ask for a sign. Ask for help. I invite you to embrace and feel the energy inside of you and all around you, from the tips of your fingers down to your toes, breathing in all that is good, abundance, kindness, compassion, awareness of your good fortune and your gratitude for life. Allowing any messages or information to come to you at this time. The gift of this incredible universal spiritual energy is filling your blood cells, your body, and your brain with calmness, healthy thoughts. Breathing in to the count of 3, short breath out. Breathing in to the count of 3, short breath out. I invite you now to take a few moments to come back to this space, gently placing your hands on the chair or the sofa or the floor, wiggling your toes and your fingers, bringing your breath into a steady, calm pace. Safe to be here. Safe to feel anxious, safe to feel depressed, safe to feel stressed, but only for a little while. Then you want to let go and hand all of that worry and anxiety and depression over to God and get on with your life and be happy. And I hope you guys go out and have a wonderful week and make it a great week to be you. And I will see you next week. Oh, not next week. What's the following Tuesday? I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. I should look at my calendar. Let me see here. Tuesday, this 22nd. I will see you guys Tuesday, June 22nd. We're going to be talking about a fabulous topic. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll figure it out by then. Meanwhile, go out and have some adventures. Get out and have a nice dinner somewhere. Go take a walk on the beach somewhere. Go enjoy your family and stay grateful. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks, everybody. Peace out.